Damn. How you all doing? So what's up? Damn. Okay. Take a drink. So, I've been wanting to share this with, well, late night thoughts anyway, and I'm just talking to myself. Nobody gives a fuck about what I gotta say. So, it would be just like speaking to the universe. That, in a way, I'm kind of looking for my childhood. But the only thing that I remember of my childhood is that I was a big, massive gamer. And, well, my little big brother, Jack, has surpassed me since life hit me as the older brother. And I will graciously give him that he's, whenever I get back into this heap of shit and start gaming again, I'm going to have him help me. He's been trying to convince me to go to PC, and I think he succeeded. Because the thing is, alright, okay, first of all, we gonna get into it. So, a long, long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, I was a little boy. Okay? But the thing about me as a little boy was, and I highly believe this, I think I would be an example of a little boy who was a hero that grew up to be a villain. And I got, literature and reading, not having, I was one of those weird kids. You could look at me and tell. And I'm not fucked up about it. I know me. And I'm comfortable with that. So, it's just like, I don't know. I had a point. But, see, that's how it works. It slowly comes back to me. I was a heroic little boy who grew up to be a selfish villain. And I say it like that because the way that I understand the world is totally different from yours. And I know this because I am weird. I am weird. I am the real definition of weird. I have the right to tell you that you will never really understand my way to view the world. And the only way that I can really do it is to just come out and say it. See, but that's the whole point of being in the audience, isn't it? You have your own you will interpret this one way, and then you will interpret this in another way, and then all the motherfuckers in the back will be just sitting there like, this is sad and weird to look at. And then you got the motherfuckers up front that, all up in the forefront and shit, talking, having that actually give a moment to respond or whatever, which I don't expect anybody to respond or make a comment. But I was one of those weird kids, and when I was little, I was always wanting to be the hero, okay? But I was so giving, that I think that a lot of my childhood I was weak to other people. Me saying this I was weak to others when I was a little kid. I knew that I wanted everybody to like me. And I figured, they fucking tell you, do good unto others. But my whole childhood was, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I was that weird kid, ugh. Yeah, I've been jumped, I've been beat up, I can promise you, there ain't a motherfucking thing anybody could do to me now that ain't been already done. Except kill me. But yeah, it's just hard. It's like a mental blockage. Like in the other video, I said that I wanted to be Darth Maul and all the villains. I was all about that too. I had a special place in me for that. But I think the original superhero, if I could start with that, would be that I did grow up with Superman. As a matter of fact, I started off with like old 1950s, 60s cartoons. And of Superman. There was this one that I would replay a lot. And he was, I don't remember exactly how it went, but he was going up against this machine that was shooting this, like, these beams at him. And Superman was kind of getting his ass whooped there for a little bit, but then he got up and he started, like, fucking, like, every time he'd fucking swing, dude, he was just fucking going through these beams, getting all up to the point, and then he just fucked this machine up by tearing it up. But it was one of the oldies, and I loved it. I can still hear that Superman theme, and I can remember every time an episode of this came on, it was that news reporter voice talking about, you know, he leaps buildings in a single bound, and that, you know, it would show him as a black dot, and he would jump over this one big fucking building, and it was the same building. Like, I don't think he jumped in, like, in this TV series, he jumped over the same building so many times. But then I also, which this, to me personally, I think Superman was only because of the fact that he could fly. That I always wanted to fly. That I would do anything. And I think that's where a bunch of my chaotic decisions come from, is that I always want to be spontaneous. I am and will be indeed larger than life, one way or the other. And I, in a way, have always been larger than life. But nobody else would know this. You know what I mean? No, you wouldn't know, because you don't understand my perception of things. Like I said. I could make such a great Edgar Allan Poe skit. The ramblings of a madman. It'd be hard to follow, but you get the picture vaguely. When I grew up, now somebody can correct me, and I would love to see someone tell me if this is true. But what I read somewhere once when it comes to Superman flying through the air is that he does not exactly fly. What happens is, because he's an alien, right? What he's doing is he has this ability, because he's an alien, where he like tightens up and loosens the Earth's gravity in himself. So what he's doing is, when he loosens it, he floats up. And the reason that he is faster than a speeding bullet is because he can loosen the gravity so to such, because he's an alien, he can withstand it, that he uses the Earth's gravity, and he just fucking, and then when he tightens it, it makes him heavier again, where he comes down to the ground. So he's not really like flying. He's using the Earth's gravity to pull himself from one thing to another. But he can do that on ground or in air and whatever, I think, is how that was explained. But there's a special place in me, a dark place, which is what I prefer the most, especially since getting older. I grew up with Batman. Now, I believe that I seen a little bit of Adam West's Batman growing up, the 60s Batman. But, you know, and I was born in 94, dude. You know what I'm saying? And, I think I will forever always be a Tim Burton's Batman. Michael Keaton. You know what I'm saying? Me and Word From Your Mother have this argument sometimes. Because, going off track. Anyway, I love Batman. I love black. I've worn black all my life. It is the color of secrecy. At least to me it is. And I can't relate to Bruce Wayne on a financial level because fuck, if I was rich, I'm not gonna lie, I'd be a happy motherfucker right now. I can't really relate to Bruce Wayne in any personal way. But I like to feel that I relate to Batman. Because Batman's that motherfucker that you can have law enforcement or whatever come up in there. Everybody get down on the ground now, and then all of a sudden they get ambushed by this fucking squad over here, and then the Joker comes in and you're dealing with a bunch of bigger shit that you can't control. Me personally, if I lived in a world where I knew that, which I would like to think is the world that we live in. Look, I believe firmly that great things do happen if you break the rules, but it's not for the sake of breaking the rules. It's just the simple fact that you know what your lane is. You know what I'm saying? And when you are fighting for a bigger cause, which in Batman's sense is to make Gotham City better, if you think about it, same thing with Superman in Metropolis. You ought to be a lucky motherfucker to have somebody in your city that's willing to take on all this crazy shit and does it time after time after time again, because they're insane. You see the point that I'm getting here? I've thought about this growing up. Could somebody really be Batman? Could somebody, you know what I'm saying? And Batman was interesting to me because I know, because I grew up knowing that in real life, nobody, you know what I'm saying? The police ain't going to sit there and for real work with a vigilante. It's just how the story goes as trust builds up. But Batman is the most wanted, even though he did even though he saves Gotham City over and over and over again, he will always be the most wanted vigilante despite what he does. That is the thing about Batman that interests me. Is it's like You know what I'm saying? Like nobody ain't gonna say shit to Superman because Superman could just fucking, you know, nobody ain't gonna say shit to him. I don't know. But Batman seems more real to me too, because I could see someone in real life as a fucking billionaire. Okay, if somebody really had that much money and like had all the fucking time in the world to like learn this shit, how to go spelunking and martial arts and skydiving, and then you add a little bit of this dark flair where you're literally like building capes that when extended turn into like a parachute jump thing. I could see someone doing that, and you just dive in on somebody. The only thing about Batman, as much as I love it, is I don't see anybody having a specific vehicle dude, I would not leave my car like that, dude. Somebody's gonna fuck with my shit. You know? But again, that's the part about Batman that I don't find real, is that, you know, if he was to fuck with his Batmobile, the Batmobile itself will defend itself. And I'm not saying that there ain't cars out there like that could do that now. I'm pretty sure they can. But it wouldn't be... I don't know. It's maybe I'll wrap my head around that one day. But there was a third and special hero that I loved dearly that, to me, it's a hard fight with Batman, and I mean a hard fight, and that's Spawn. And I love Spawn so much. I love the movie with Michael Jai White. I've been hearing that they want to reboot it, and that it might be Jamie Foxx. I'd be interested in seeing that. But, you know, like they say, I mean, you cannot outdo the original. But I also seen not only the movie, but I've watched the Spawn cartoons. Malebolgia is like a household name in my family. I don't really remember where Spawn came from, or in my childhood, but I think... See, and my mom gets aggravated when I say this. Everything about me comes from my mom, I swear, because when I do try to take a trip into memory lane to remember all this shit, Mom introduced me because of the Spawn movie. Mom introduced me to... My mom introduced me to Marilyn Manson, dude. Like, but she's gonna sit there and try and say, nah, I don't listen. Like, it... But... Word from your mother, man. Swear to God. But Anyway, but it's just like I did, going on to this other thing that I get to share with a lot of the reason that I do late night thoughts is I have a problem when I'm speaking to people. Like, I'm alone with this Chili Frost persona, and it's still, I try to work on talking. It's hard for me to speak. But I had this Spawn game that had a badass soundtrack, and it was, you know what I'm saying? There's hidden gems everywhere if you look for them in the gaming world. Spawn the Eternal was one of them. Had Tom McFarlane all over it, everything. But yeah. As far as gaming, I am a PlayStation fan. I was born the same year that the PlayStation came out. So the first game system that I had, I guess, was the Sega Genesis. And I do not remember if it was my Sega Genesis or if it was Mom's. I don't think Mom ever really played it. But chocolate milk. Num 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 num. But I had the Sega Genesis. I had Bram Stoker's Dracula. I had Jurassic Park. I had every Sonic the Hedgehog. I used to watch Sonic the Hedgehog. He's the reason that I like chili dogs. And I had Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3. There was a lot. And when the PlayStation came around, I think Mom got that for me as a Christmas present. And there, on Grantline Road, or I think it was Grantline Road, there used to be a Kroger there. We went in there, and the irony was that it was Christmas season. It was snowing. And Mom picked out this game that ironically was set in the Christmas season. And it was a horror. If Final Fantasy VII and Resident Evil, I think someone said this before. If Final Fantasy VII and Resident Evil had a baby, you'd have Parasite Eve. And if you combine Jurassic Park with Resident Evil, you get Dino Crisis. But she bought Parasite Eve. And Parasite Eve was fucking scary. It was. It had a good doom, gloomy atmosphere. Good story. Good soundtrack. The second one was alright. And I haven't played the third one, but I heard that the third one was basically like Final Fantasy VII's Crisis Core. But and then Mom bought this other one called Shadow Man. And Shadow Man was a game where literally the bad guy that you had to go up against was Legion himself. Props to Tim Haywood for the soundtrack. He was fucking awesome. It was fucking scary. Tim Haywood has been 95% of my childhood growing up every time I would turn that game on. Sometimes I used to have a phone ringer of the Shadow Man theme. My mom likes it too, she can't lie. But you know, and then there used to be this thing called PlayStation Underground. You could get these demo discs, and they would allow you to play games that were coming out soon and all that. And that was how I found out about Toy Story 2. And there was this game called Tiny Tank. That was how I found out about A Bug's Life. And then there's this, I cannot say the name of it because I still struggle with it, but my mom fucking hated it. That was like one of the few games that she actually hated. But they had Magic the Gathering and Duke Nukem, Crash Bandicoot, Evil Dead, Hail to the King at least. But that was because my household's Bruce Campbell fans to begin with. Final Fantasy VII, I believe it was my brother's dad's game. And over time we fucking Final Fantasy VII was just fucking awesome, dude. It was. And I think a big part of it was the fact that it was industrial. And, you know, how the fuck can you not like the big ass Buster Sword, dude? It looks like a big ass cleaver, son. Dino Crisis. Like I said earlier, Dino Crisis, I think, was another one that Mom picked up. And oh my God, me and Mom loved it. It was kind of like the Tomb Raider thing where you run into the T-Rex that's hidden all the way back there in the trees and shit. But in this scenario, the motherfucker was literally coming through the window. Scared the fuck out of everybody, dude. Mom! Mom! Yeah. I remember that shit. That brings nostalgia. Along with the color-coded keys and shit that you had to run back and forth to get. It essentially was Resident Evil with dinosaurs, because it's fucking Capcom, you know? But, I had Resident Evil Director's Cut. But that would be something that must, you know, chair behind the chicken house family to me. Resident Evil would be something that I think he would have finished. I have never beaten I've beaten Resident Evil 7, and my brother helped me beat Resident Evil 8 here recently. And then it's Soul Reaver. Oh my god. I don't remember where Soul Reaver came from, but I think it was something to do with an ex-boyfriend of Mom's. We had the walkthrough book to it and everything. And that is a story that we wish very much to see more of, and we do. Like here recently, I heard that they did a remaster of Soul Reaver, and I kind of got excited about it too, but it's just like, boy, I'm 30 years old, man. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, oh yeah, Alone in the Dark, fucked up. I loved it. Was right up my scary alley, dude. And then at some point there was a PlayStation 2, and I think the reason that Mom got the PS2, other than the fact that, you know, it was just new at the time, was she wanted to get a continuation of Soul Reaver, which was called Blood Omen. But it was Blood Omen 2. And she couldn't find the first one. Well, the reason she couldn't find the first one was because the original Blood Omen was PlayStation 1. We didn't figure that. We didn't find that until like later. But and that's what happened. And I fucking beat that. It was... I ain't gonna front. I liked it. I did. I played the fuck out of it. I tore that motherfucker up. Oh, another one for the PS1 was literally Casper. That was another one that... Devon Sawa. But, Christina Ricci. when the, about PS2. Or no, and another one was Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid, I don't know where or remember where that came from. Metal Gear Solid is a big household thing, okay? From 1 to 2 to 3, 4 and 5 they were okay. But we love Solid Snake, and Solid Snake we trust. I would want Solid Snake to be my president. It's just a lot of them. I have a lot of memories with all of them. Fear Effect. But yeah, during PlayStation 2 though. The PlayStation 2, other than, Blood Omen, was, again, we had Silent Hill come back, and this time it was Silent Hill 3. And I think the first 3 Silent Hills, no, the first 4 Silent Hills were the first 4 Silent Hills were the better ones, all the way up to the room. Again, Metal Gear. We had Metal Gear 2 for the PS2. Mom had a crush on Vamp, which was voiced by Philomar. Metal Gear 3. Oh, Metal Gear 3 was fucking badass. Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I remember, because PlayStation Underground was still kind of a thing. And I played a demo disc that had a game that I believe was called Shinobi. War of the Monsters or something like that, where you're literally like fighting other monsters, destroying the city and shit. Just and then you had more Resident Evil. Tony Hawk's Underground, Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, Tony Hawk's Underground 2, Soul Reaver 2, fucking shit. Shadow the Hedgehog. Devil May Cry 1, 2, 3. Played the fuck out of Devil May Cry 4. Have yet to play 5. Yeah. PS2 era is kind of blurry though, for some reason. Headhunter, which was a weird game. It was interesting. It made you think a lot. Oh shit. The PlayStation 3 came around. I think that was the introduction to the Assassin's Creed trilogy. That was also Metal Gear 4, I believe. Grand Theft Auto 4, I believe. There wasn't really much to go off of for the PlayStation 3 because I don't think many things came out for that other than, I believe, a remake of Twisted Metal. But and now, we got the PS4, and I haven't been able to do much other than Grand Theft Auto 5. And life hits. My brother Jack has been trying to convince me to go to the PC, and that reminds me, that's another thing. We had computer games too with Mom. Mom's most favorite was this Frankenstein one that had Tim Curry. And the other one was Malcolm McDowell with like the Mummy. And we had American McGee's as Alice, Fable, Black and White. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, those are all I have. And it's just hard because I lived in this fantasy world where I kind of wanted to be a creator like the people on PlayStation Underground. And life doesn't happen like that for everybody. It just only until now, like within the past 10 years, hell, maybe a little bit, just a little bit longer than that, people started making YouTube channels. And and you've got Markiplier and PewDiePie and fucking Jacksepticeye and people that don't have to worry about a goddamn thing. All because they got to become the personalities that they are while doing so. And man, shit, I would. It must be nice. I do want to get the PS5, but I think my brother's convinced me to go with PC because I've gotten on his PC and his PC's a fucking beast. And it's just, you know, I mean, you can plug a controller into it and play it like that. I mean, he showed me how. And plus, with a PC, you know, when you're wanting to do YouTube and shit, you kind of have to have a PC to do that sort of shit anyway, you know. He often tells me that he doesn't request a gaming laptop to do it on. I don't know. It's just late night thoughts. That's all it is. It's like I think I hid myself in these games. Nobody really liked me outside anyway. And in some ways, today, I still feel like that. But thank you for listening.